I hate to break up this wonderful conviviality that is taking place. I wish we could just all sit and visit, but I think we're going to begin the meeting now. So let me give a call to order and report that all members are present. And then we have two young girls who are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We have Evelyn Cochran and Olivia Tucker. And Dr. Kaufman's going to read a little bio on each of them. So,
Okay, Evelyn Cochran, she's in first grade, Miss Pear's class. You're so cute. Ryan and Veronica Cochran are her parents. She's a Tiger cheerleader, plays soccer, and enjoys playing Roblox and Mario video games with her sister. That's pretty cool. The next one, Olivia Tucker. And look at her, she's cute too. First grade, Miss Pear, Cindy and Teresa Tucker, her parents, likes to play with Barbies, loves animals, and is taking Taekwondo classes. So that means don't mess with her.
come on, impressive. So you said that.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job. Let's see. Olivia.
Thank you, ladies, great job.
Gift.
Take a picture.
Mr. Arkwright now.
Put your thing, there you go, put your thing.
We'll get there, we got it.
Here we go. Good job.
You just went there, right? Yeah, and I mean, they spoke up, very good.
They've been practicing using their Pledge of Allegiance voices.
They did.
This is the time if you want to stay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Then Tiger's gonna go first.
Oh, Tiger's Roar, I'm sorry, I just crossed Tiger's Roar out, sorry about that. Coach Chris Ray is going to present Amelia Miller and give us an update on all the wonderful things that are happening
We
in
good.
our softball.
My voice carries, it's very loud. Thank you for having us tonight. We're here to honor Amelia Miller, as her teammates now refer to her, Moose. It's all I've known her by since I've had the pleasure of coaching her. Amelia was selected as a large school East All-State participant from Tahlequah this year. She will represent our high school and our team at the All-State Games in June. The game will be played at Oklahoma Christian University in Edmond, Oklahoma. Amelia has been a 4-year starter for our program, has won numerous awards throughout her playing career. She was recognized twice as the offensive most valuable player for our district. She's one of the reasons that we've made 8 consecutive state tournaments. She's only played in 4 of them, but she's a big part of it. She just recently signed with Lebec Community College. She'll be taking her softball talents to Parsons, Kansas next fall, and we're extremely proud of her. So present to you, Miss Amelia Miller.
What position do you play? I catch, that's what
You're as tall as they are. No, you're fine, stand up. Okay, here we go. I'm doing a good job tonight.
You are, Carr.
I'm telling you, it's
Socks.
the socks.
Oh, that's so cute.
She really is as tall as us, as me.
Congratulations.
You are ready to go if you wanna go.
Yes, Elsie's granddaughter.
Oh.
She's like,
Yeah, I'm out.
Next
You better have it.
Okay.
She, yeah.
Mhm.
Yes,
She's
she's
played softball
amazing.
forever.
Travis, Travis is her dad.
Yeah, yeah.
Travis and Angie.
All right, now, forgive me about that, Coach Ray. Didn't mean to overlook.
Oh, you're fine.
Public to be heard,
No.
that was decisive. Discussion and vote to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Aye. Dr. Eversole,
Aye.
Dr. Coffin.
Aye.
And I.
And Stephanie said aye.
Did I say Stephanie?
No, but aye.
Well, I'm off my game tonight. I this extra year his birthday's put on,
Hey.
showing up tonight. Okay, deputy treasurer to report and discuss, and we are to approve the monthly financials.
Good evening. So we'll go over the bank balance as of November 30th was $11,214,080.40. Receipts for the month of November for general fund were $2,849,939.79. For building fund, $2,657.82. There's nothing for co-op or bond, and then sinking fund had $12,087.63. Bank fund bank balance as of November 30th, $5,277,034.35 for general fund, $4,922,130.50 for building fund. Co-op fund still has $110.55. Bond funds, $762,578 even. Sinking fund, $252,227 even. You'll notice after the warrants, were paid in general fund, that left us at $4,767,670.38. So that is now below our $5 million, but we do have over $1 million of unpaid claims right now. So what happens is once we claim that money, or we file the claim, we have to wait for them to approve it, and then after it's approved, we have to wait for them to pay us, and it is a very slow process right now.
Much slower than normal.
We still have one application that still is not even approved, so, but all the claims have been filed for that. So activity fund at the end of November was $1,162,762.45. Go over to the utilities. The electric, we paid $4,569.83 less last year compared to this year. Water was $2,560.21 more. And I talked to Brad about that, and he said that was still from them having to water for so long with the drought. And then for our gas, we only paid $299 more from last November to this November. So, still looking okay.
Okay, on the electric it was less than we paid last year?
Yes,
Okay, 4,000 and,
yeah, $4,569.83.
okay.
Any questions?
Any questions from anyone? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Any discussion? Aye. Dr. Everson.
Aye.
Dr. Cochran.
Aye.
And Mrs. Rodman. Aye. We have preschool director's report and transportation, Paul Martin.
See you when I'm past the age where you can call me cute.
I'll call you.
I won't take it personally. Okay. So let's start with the bad news. We've had a nice streak going of accident-free. It's actually 258 work days, not calendar days, actual work days. We don't have an accident, and we had one last month, and so it was the most minor of accidents you can think of. It wasn't even a fender bender, it was a fender rubber. Mainly, just kind of a push of it, but it's contact that had to be recorded, so we lost our streak, but we're back up to 32 days, so we're gonna try to start another one. So the good news is nobody was hurt, no damage to the vehicles, anything, so as far as accidents go, that's about as good as we get. So we have 20 routes. I warned everybody out with the numbers on that. As far as we go about 1,100 miles a day total every day, between 1,400 and 1,600 students transported to school. But I wanted the focus to be on, it would take so many extra trips, sports activities, clubs, all this stuff. There's constantly someone on the road from doing something with the school. So I decided just to kind of total that up, and just from this semester, with only the buses, just for this semester, there was 239 trips, totaling 28,014 miles. And with other vehicles, there was 68 trips, totaling 23,027 miles, for a total of 307 trips, 51,041 miles total, 8 states visited, no accidents, no one stranded, no injuries, no major breakdowns, nothing. And that's a testament to the people that we have in the transportation department. We have 30 buses, 5 vans, 3 SUVs, 6 cars, all the maintenance trucks. They take care of all of that, and over 90% of the work that's done is done in-house. And it's done by 2 guys. One of which is a full-time mechanic, the other one's a mechanic, and he also drives the route full-time. So these 2 guys are keeping up with all these vehicles, to the point where, I know we've all got stories from school where you're on a field trip or sports trip or something, and you're on the side of the road for 4 hours waiting for another bus, we've all got those stories. Kids at Talco don't have those stories, that we get everybody home safe. We haven't had anybody stranded at all. We've actually got a shop truck that we're really proud of, but we've got guys up there that have been police officers, they've been they're retired firefighters, stuff like that, so they know the things that we need to be equipped with. That shop truck it's not only a mobile shop, it's a mobile emergency vehicle. It can help control traffic. I mean, it's decked out. So like our mechanic, Bubba, who's a whiz with diesel engines, he's unbelievable. But he's suggested that it's these things, these head slap things, like, oh yeah, duh, should have been doing that a long time ago. But on road football games, we'll take 3 buses for the football team, 3 for the band, 1 for cheerleaders. There's vans that go for broadcasting, vans that go for sportsmen. We'll have 10, 12 vehicles at one site. So the band trailer needed something to haul it. He's like, why don't we use the shop truck? That way it's on site in case something happens. And it's just simple things like that that really make the department run well, that make these activities and stuff possible, that these guys are coming up with they're always thinking of ways to be proactive about things and to help get the kids there and back safely. That's the goal. And on a infrastructure point, these guys do all this work in a shop that barely fits a bus inside of it, lengthwise. Like if you close the doors, you don't have room to work on the engine. So they're up there 20 degrees outside with the back of the bus hanging out the shop, with the door open, wrenching on these engines, trying to stay warm. But but they fight through this stuff. I'm not gonna say they never complain, but they don't complain. They don't complain as much as I would. But they do a great job. And for them to keep all these things running, the goal is to get to never have transportation be an excuse for a student not to be able to go to something. are not to be able to participate in extracurricular activities, or for parents to be able to rely on these buses to get their kids back and forth to school. But they fight through all kinds of stuff to make that happen. And they're doing a great job, and I want to shine the light on that, and also shine a light on the drivers, the coaches, the teachers, and so forth that have their CDLs, the ones that don't, and that drive vans and cars. We have 60 people total in the district that have their CDLs, and these guys put in a lot of hours driving kids back and forth. A lot of the coaches get on the bus after teaching all day, drive the kids 2 hours to a game, coach the game, put them back on the bus, drive them back. These are dedicated people, and so we need to tip our cap to them every now and then. Appreciate what they do. The end goal, myself personally, I always pick a verse from the Bible to motivate me every school year. This year was Ecclesiastes 12:13, and it says, "Fear God, keep His commandments. This is the whole duty of man." So it's kept me. I put it up in my office. It keeps me motivated to just do your job, do your duty. What's your duty? What's the basic thing that you have to do? And the basic thing that we have to do is get those kids from here to there safely and get them there on time. And that's our goal, and that's what these guys up here, these bus drivers, coaches, the mechanics, they're all focused on that, and they do it every single day. And the numbers are kind of mind-boggling, but how much they do, and how much work they do, how much work they get done while everything else is going on, and they deserve all the credit. And we have a good department. Hopefully everybody realizes that, appreciates that. You see somebody that drives a bus, shake their hand and tell them thank you. And that's all I have for them. Any questions?
How many employees are in the transportation department?
27 total. That's drivers, secretaries, mechanics, everybody. And actually only have one full-time mechanic.
How many buses do we own outright, and how many do we lease?
We have right at 30 buses, counting the minibuses and everything. 4 of those are lease buses, the rest we own. We usually, the basic number used to be 5 buses in and 5 out, as far as lease buses go. We kind of whittled that down to 3 because we did have some of the COVID money. We were able to buy some buses outright, so we didn't need quite as many. We're also trying to make the budget work. What we've got to work with and keep good equipment running. We've got some older buses that run good. They're not fancy, but they run well. And we've tried to keep them running to save having to buy another one, just trying to make the budget fit.
And remind us, we have armed cameras on couple?
Stop arm cameras on, I think it's 8 of the buses now. We're able to see exactly who's running our red stop signs if we need to.
And then we have them in the buses on.
Yes, all the buses
all
have them
the
inside,
roads.
right. There's usually one pointing to the stairwell and like out the windshield, and then one in the entry area, one in the back, and one in the middle. The one in the back is super valuable.
They're very good
Not
cameras.
students, so-
We can go fast, slow.
Yeah.
Zoom right in, from
Freeze
here.
frame, has audio, everything,
Yeah.
so we're able
Very
to keep
helpful.
everybody safe and keep discipline. things like
How
that.
much are those cameras? Do you have any idea?
See, last time we did, they're $6,000 or $7,000, and because you have to have a unit, hard drive unit, and then all the cameras and the wiring. They have to get it all the paneling and install it and everything. But usually on the lease buses, that's kind of included in the price. We build that in the price. There's another company that puts them in, but they build it in and then we own the camera. So like if we send the bus back, we keep the cameras. So through that, we've kind of been able to cycle out some of the older systems and get, all of our route buses now have the newer system in it that's much better, much clearer. So that's helped a lot also.
As head of transportation, if you had a preference, would you have buses that we own, or would it be better to lease? What do you think?
The advantage
Which
to
is
lease
more
buses is, sure, the advantage to lease buses is getting updated equipment every 4 or 5 years, 3 years, whatever the lease is. The disadvantage is that on a lease, it's super strict on what you can claim and what you can't. They'll say, oh, that's wear and tear, so that's on you, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of frustrating sometimes, but then when you send it back, if there's a little scratch on the side, they're like, that's $1,200 for paint, you know, and you have to end up paying. So when you send it back, the amount you pay is not that much different than buying it outright. And we've had several that we've reached the end of the lease and just paid the difference and kept the budget under ownership. And that's worked out pretty well for it. But you can put a lot of miles on a bus before it actually starts to become a problem. You know, so.
We looked at it seems like a lot of the districts our size across the state do a little bit of both. So I think that's kind of what we're moving towards, a little bit of both, so we've got a varied transportation fleet.
I know the reality of budgets, and so we don't have unlimited funds, so we try to make it work as well as we can.
And I would just like to say thank you for all you do, and Paul has really, the culture at transportation and just the camaraderie of the drivers is amazing. It's probably not the best time of the year at the moment, but the drivers redid like the front flower beds of transportation. They've gotten ornaments in the gardens in front. I mean, just the pride they've taken in that place is amazing. They do a dessert contest where they all bring something. They have Elvis in the foyer. They have a good time, but they're serious about it. And he really does. He puts safety at the forefront. So we're really proud that you represent us for our transportation. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank
Got Paul.
Okay. Item G, superintendent's report.
Right, this month we have 522 employees, 3,673 students. Last month we had 3,681, so it's dropped just a few. We have 161 pre-K students with 20 additional pre-K 3s and Adventure Head Start students, 435 at Cherokee, 495 at Greenwood, 500 at Heritage, 715 at TMS, and 1,347 at high school and Central. And I know at least one of you have noticed our principals are not in the room. We have basketball games, band concerts, Christmas programs, parties, and we said, Merry Christmas. We've got this, so we'll catch you up on anything that you missed. We have a few transfer spots in the elementaries, and then Sequoia, TMS, and THS have no transfer spots right now. Just a little bit on bond update, the Greenwood White Wing windows, that's a mouthful, Greenwood White Wing windows are complete, minus a bit of the trim work, and the electrical panel work is gonna happen over the break. We are going to be fixing the Greenwood roof with some of the extra money that we have from the bond renovation from our last bond. So we are working on that, getting a start date on that pretty quickly. The T-Max steps repairs, a lot of it is done, but the block had to be recreated, they had to make it to match what was there. So that's 6 to 8 weeks out, and then that block work will be finished on that. We're looking at the remaining bond funds right now, making plans for renovations across the district, looking at a lot of flooring, any bathrooms that need some repairs that we can do some in. Some of the things that we might have heard from the listening groups this week, we'll go do that, put that on some of our lists. But we should have a pretty good chunk of money. We don't know I don't wanna say it exactly because our GMPs are not completely paid from our large projects. But I would hope by this meeting next month, I would have a real strong number on this is how much we're gonna be able to divide up and do more renovations between now and the beginning of next school year. The barn is taking shape. We had a great meeting with some of our parents. So that was last week, I guess. So we have a design, a 40 by 40 design. We will be adding it to the end of an existing building behind the ag classroom right now. It's right between the middle school and high school campus, so our hope is to maybe get some 8th grade, older kids at middle school even into some ag next year in their elective, so to help build that program for the high school.
That's not gonna interfere with the plans,
No, ma'am.
okay,
Yes.
that's what I wanna know.
No, all of that, it's all structured, the people that we're working with for the next bond, have done the plans for that.
Okay,
We met with them today, walked it again, they were gonna check a few things, and then we were almost ready, a few days off of signing off on that plan, and then we will start to get bid packets out and do all the work for that. I've told them I want to be able to use the barn by August of next year, and that is what we're shooting for. The only thing that can be a problem is like the red iron building package, but we think it's gonna be fine, but I will be able to tell parents that pretty quickly. You know, once we actually get that in, and then we will have a date, because once we get it, it's pretty easy to put up. Once you get it, it's just actually getting the materials. So we got some great feedback from the parents. We had a room full that night, and so we were able to go back on the architect's design that we took that time, gave some of their feedback, tweaked a few things. So it's gonna be a really good space for our kids. And we had, we're expecting it to cost about $200,000. We had $103,000 in donations so far. And I knew that we would be spending about $100,000 out of building fund. Because it is a renovation of an existing building now, if we need to go into some of those other renovation funds, we can. Not preferable, but we do have a safety net in case we need one. So that is what's going on with the barn. On November attendance, it was down a little bit at every building. Sequoia went from 90.8, from 92.3 to 90.8. Cherokee was 93.7 and went to 92.6. Greenwood was 94.8, went to 93. Heritage was 94.2, went to 93.5. Middle school was 92.7, went to 91.1. And high school was 92.2 and went to 90.7. So every building still had over a 90% attendance rate, so proud of that. On child nutrition, some of the data we've been tracking, we served 61,958 meals in 15 serving days. We are tracking what we owe and what we're bringing in. This month was a little concerning because we will have paid out about 12,000 more than we brought in. But growing pains, us working through serving more meals, getting more kids to eat. It's slightly concerning trend, but we are watching it closely. I've already solicited a meeting with Chartwells to look at everything that we're all doing, they're doing, we're doing, what do we need to change? But that is a trend we will have to watch. So I will come back and report to you on that every month. We'll figure it out. I mean, we're committed to all, our two groups to figuring it out. There were about $3,000 in repairs in there. And last month, when we gave the number, we had not included benefit costs in there. So this looks like it was a big jump, and it really wasn't. We should have had something else in the cost last month. But we're tracking it, and that's what's important. I mean, we are looking at trends in everything that we do, so we'll know what we need to change. The grab and go carts are up at THS. Need grab and go carts still at TMS, and we're working on separate program. I know that at after school program, HARS worked with Chartwells and with our after school coordinators, and separate program numbers are already up. So that's not reflected yet in this. And so I think when we see the data next month, we'll see that increase in that. And separate program it's a good thing for our kids to participate in, and well, they need to for multiple reasons, but it's a healthy way for us to recoup the cost of CEP.
So, did you say they have grab and goes at the middle school or just at the high
Not
school?
yet, just high school, is that correct, Colin? Or-
They do have them in the office.
In the office, but we'd like to roll out a cart as well,
Mhm. Yeah.
at
they
a
have
different
some-
location to increase.
So like if kids come into the office late, they are able to get
Correct.
something there,
Correct.
but not yet where when they walk in that door, instead of going down to the cafeteria, hey, let me just grab this
Cause
and
they,
take it
can't
with
they
me.
get something for lunch and breakfast, or is it just?
They can get breakfast, lunch, and supper, one of
Off
each,
those cards.
every single day.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we don't have the supper on the
Carts
carts.
yet, but-
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
but
the breakfast
whenever
on
they
the
get 'em.
carts.
Yeah, but we think that will also increase participation, so.
Is that what we're really, the bottom line, we need more kids to eat,
Yes,
and it's free?
It is free.
That's what
I
I'm
don't,
trying
I
to.
don't
Thinking
understand.
the carts would help.
I think the
Like
carts would
little
help too, have a big old biscuit on their collar.
It helps at the high school. We've seen a lift
Yes.
at the high school, and we wanna roll out a second cart at the high school starting in the new year. So we're focused on, we know what we need to do, and that's really dialing it in, so.
Wonder, could we get numbers on percent of kids that are eating at each side? Because like, I mean, in high school, in maybe even middle school, I assume you have some kids that just don't eat,
Right.
period.
Yeah.
In elementary school, they're only not eating if they bring their lunch, because if they don't have their lunch, they go through the line and get a tray. So I would just be curious on what those numbers look
Yeah.
like per
We
site.
have some of that information, so we'll make sure we pull that and we can send that to Tanya.
And
So
I
if
know,
they're coming in late and doing the grab and go, can they take it into the classroom, or are they?
I think each school has a little bit different procedures on what they do with the food. But if someone comes in and needs to eat, there is a space for them to eat, whether it's right where they get it or in the office or in their classroom.
Did you allow food in your classroom?
Absolutely.
Me
I
too.
ate.
Ms. Walker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love eat, drink, whatever, you know.
I don't
Now,
know
I
that
kept
people
stuff, so-
realize
I do too.
that the supper program is an actual meal. I mean, I didn't, because my kids would tell me that they had snack at Boys and Girls Club, but it's a meal that they get. And I don't know that that is widely known, that if, and I also don't know what time they eat, and if that's different or.
3:15, yeah,
just right after school.
That'd be a great story to write about Chartwell and Colin and about supper, because I don't think it's been in our district long enough for people to just,
It's a
No.
full meal that
Yeah,
they
cause
get.
it used to be at
so
SNAP.
you should have to feed your kids 5 days a week.
We're actually working with a few of the coaches too that asked for some suppers to go for their kiddos that have away games.
Oh, that's good.
That is
so-
good.
We used to do that.
We're gonna do that. We're starting with junior high basketball. And high school basketball asked for it too, and that's what got my mind going. So anyone is welcome. We will figure it out. And as I told them, it's not gonna be beautiful the first time. It's gonna be kind of messy. So don't give up on us if it doesn't work for you the very first time. But I think the coaches are actually pretty excited. I'm sure they'll still stop somewhere to eat, or whatever, but if not, that's a whole meal, and
Yeah.
some of the kids can't afford to stop.
These kids can eat one and still eat.
Yeah.
They'll eat
Right,
3
yeah.
meals,
So I know it doesn't solve all the problems, but I love that we're working with the coaches to try to.
Well, I live with the coach who's excited about it, and
Yes.
Lacey was fixing them up.
You are Lacey,
I am Lacey, yes,
I was just double checking.
sorry.
Oh, no,
So-
fine.
What about, break? Refresh my memory on backpacks, do we?
So we'll double up, we'll sometimes double over the break, and then we have 140 Rotary food baskets that we're giving out this Saturday.
Okay,
So those vouchers are going home, have started on Monday, and we're getting the rest of those out tomorrow. And then through our partnership with the Eastern Food Bank, we got the food boxes, so there's like a box of cereal, a couple of meals that they can prepare, and some like canned fruits. So Katie's been working on getting that out to our families.
okay, that's awesome, thank you. I don't have any more questions.
So with the grab and go carts, how do the kids pay for lunches? They have a card or a number or?
A number.
Okay, so
And
they
they just
just,
give them their name.
they just give them name
At
and
the
number?
carts, they just give
Card.
them their name.
Okay,
In the actual cafeteria, they scan their card or,
that number, okay. So I just wondered how we were.
But it's free for them, so they just give their name and then they get to take it.
Yeah, we put it in the system later.
That's awesome.
Elementary, they like hand them out, like the teacher has the cards and they hand them to the kids right when they're going through the line, and then they leave the card there so they don't get lost.
Yeah, very good idea.
Something else exciting that happened this week, we hosted 7 listening sessions with OSSBA. So we had about 110 different patrons here at that building. It was a revolving whirlwind of a day, but it was absolutely amazing. We had a group of community leaders, business leaders, teachers, admins, support staff, parents, and students. They were all in this room except students, and we moved the meeting to the presentation hall, that way middle school and high school students could be there. There were 20 people invited in each of those subcategories, and we had a room full at every one of them. And they said invite 20 because a lot of people will have 10 come. Well, we had 15 to 20 come in every one of the sessions, and they said that they were they were blown away by the people that came, that showed up, that were invested in our community. And we're excited to talk about the future of Tellico Public Schools and Tellico in general. So we will get some trend data back from that. They take the data that they get and go back and will, from each group, give us feedback from what they received. But I know that it was good. I mean, they were really, really excited about what they heard about our school district and our community in general. So we'll have some more information about that
And will we
next
get
month.
like a written report, or will they come and do a presentation?
They will do a written report. I think they would Zoom with us and do some other things like that, and they probably would come back and present information if we need to know as
I don't know,
well.
we need them to, I was just curious.
There are other pieces of that, so the other pieces of that strategic planning, the enrollment forecast for long range, and we've got some preliminary numbers on that. They don't see a lot of growth, just like when Lisa Presley did something, 10, 12 years ago. They show, maybe 100 kid growth in the next 6 to 8 years. That's still staying pretty steady, which is what everybody says that looks at that for us. That same gentleman, he's from Atlanta, Georgia. He will be here on Monday, and he will be doing a facility assessment for every one of our buildings, walk through with myself or Brad or other members of that staff. Those are just all the pieces that we're putting together to create our district strategic plan. Some dates to think about, Christmas break is coming up. And I think we're all ready for a little bit of downtime. So we have tomorrow and 5 more days, and then the 2 weeks off.
Kids are counting that down.
Kids are counting it down.
Count it down in the naughty mobile.
I think maybe adults are counting it down too,
Yes,
that's gonna be my guess, but
Gonna say.
I think I'm.
Tomorrow
Yeah,
and-
counting it down. I need a little bit of a break.
They
Oh.
closed down the whole thing.
February 15th is our Hall of Fame, graduation, May 18th. Thanksgiving totals, I did write that on here as well. For Thanksgiving, they served a lot of people. 3,792 last year. This year, we served 4,310, so
Wow.
518.
We put them in our numbers.
More people. We served 4,310 people on Thanksgiving Day. That was an increase this year of 518 over last year. The one number that I thought was the most impressive, 142 more parents or people had lunch at the middle school.
Yeah.
Last year there were a handful, and their kids kind of like made them go to the corner and act like they didn't know them. And they had tons of parents this year.
They did, it was really fun.
So that was super cool. We served a lot of our community that day, and they did a wonderful job. First quarter attendance data, overall, just to report on that. So last year, for the entire year, Sequoia's attendance was 90.07. Our first quarter this year was 92.06, so 2 percentage points up so far. So that was, that's good. Cherokee was 92.1 overall last year, and at the end of the first quarter was 93.8. Greenwood was 93.72, and this year so far, 94.3. Heritage, 92.31, and this year 94.4. Middle school was 90.55, and this year 93. High school was 91.82, and this year 93.1. So, that every minute matters. We're trying to get people here, and our attendance is increasing. So something's working. So yay all of us, I guess.
I have one question. Are those people that were in those
Or do you have another meeting with them, or is it?
We do, no, not, well, we could, but as far as what OSSBA does with them, they use that data. Now, we've got months worth of stuff that we'll do with people, and once we start getting down in the weeds of exactly what our big projects are and the package we're going to put together, and then we'll have community meetings. We've scheduled a meeting with our own staff on next Wednesday where they can come in and look at the things that we think we are gonna have on the bond. Get some feedback. TEA's put something out today asking them some feedback on things like that. So we're making lists of every community meeting that we go talk to. If we talk to the Rotary, we talk to Seroptimus, or someone has talked to a local bank, so we have a running Google Doc where all of us that are going around and speaking for the district are monitoring who's having conversations. And then like putting the kind of feedback we're getting, and is there follow-up conversation that might be needed, that type of thing. So we're really trying to do our due diligence and talking to people all over Tahlequah. I promised one of our favorite people. I'm not gonna read it all because I got a really long letter in the mail from Mr. Bryson Lee, if you're watching, Bryson. And he said, Dr. Tanya Jones, and I had to tell him I don't deserve that title yet, maybe one day. But he gave a lot of great suggestions on what he wants us to do at Tahlequah. I want to wish you a happy holidays. Hopefully next year will be even better than this one. He wants us to think about late start Mondays instead of late start Fridays. He wants us to stream our dances and our softball games and our football games and our pep rallies, because he thinks that, Tahlequah Tiger football, basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball, wrestling, board meetings, pep assemblies, their home games, JV, varsity, junior high, Tahlequah Sports League, that all needs to be put out on the site. And gives a shout out to 102.1. He loves Tahlequah Athletics and Lake Country Studio. He wants us to, thank you for working to make Tahlequah a better place for all people, so they can all learn better. He wants us to have security for the games and at school, have our ID badges for all the games at school, have more breaks, but keep the calendar for the next year. He wants to keep his Chromebook. Put hours on phones and smartwatch in our he wants the phones and smartwatches in our bags when we're in class, when we're working on that. Got that feedback. And only have them out at breakfast and lunch. And have distance learning every other month, like on Monday. But maybe sometime in the future have our own football field for our own varsity to use, and turf on baseball and softball field. Chris Ray. Did you pay him to have him write that? But Bryson is a valued member of our Superintendent's Advisory Council, and he keeps us chock full of good ideas. So
He
thanks,
needs to go
Bryson.
see Lou, you need to go see Lou at KEOK, the radio station, and get him to start broadcasting all those games.
Okay, we'll work on that, get him on there for you.
Yeah.
He would do amazing, amazing.
Hey, I think we ought to say kudos to Kaufman for not drawing an opponent.
Oh, congrats. Absolutely. We did announce that. It's something else we were at earlier, at the monthly mingle. I did get to say that at the monthly mingle. Ms. Sean Kaufman will be with us for another 5 years. And thank you for choosing to do this, because it's paid so well.
Retirement.
All right.
Good to be here. Great report. And I like some of those suggestions.
It's got some good ones.
I know. We all need to be thinking about all of this as much as Bryce did, yes. Okay, item H, discussion and vote to approve the following surplus. There's a 1 and 2, THS and Greenwood.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion about any of this surplus? Ms. Nema?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Dr. Coffin?
Aye.
And Mrs. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. Item I, business items, consent docket vote to approve the following contracts and agreements, trips out of state and overnight trips. Motion,
I'll make a motion.
any discussion on any of this? Ms. Neal?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Dr. Cockman?
Aye.
And Mrs. Crawford? Discussion and vote to approve the revision of the following policies. And this is, item 1, revision of policy 6025, student transfers third quarter, and I think this is just what
We have to do it by law quarterly.
quarterly,
Yes.
okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Neal?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Dr. Cockman?
Aye.
And Mrs. Crawford? And aye. Discussion and vote to approve the 2025-26 school calendar. Motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion on this?
I have a discussion. That calendar is confusing. Not just, the one that is on our website, which is we're gonna adopt for next year. Because we have staff and teaching days as well as student in-class days. And some of them, in the red, it says no class, no, but there are still a few, when I look at that I don't know if kids have school that day or not.
Okay.
And we put like, there's the one where there's the smiley face, which is a PD day. But it doesn't, for example, homecoming, if you look at the calendar, it says homecoming, but it doesn't say no school.
Okay.
And I don't know if that is coded differently. I don't know if there's maybe 2 separate calendars, that's a teacher calendar, a student calendar, but I still get confused when I'm, planning and I go open the calendar and I sometimes can't tell. And I noticed on the one that we're voting on tonight, that it was the recommended one or whatever, there were, homecoming was one, and then there was another one that it was in red, but it didn't, like, out beside where it says the date, and it was written in red, but then it didn't say no school. And I think it was, and then maybe President's Day or something, and then all the rest of them were out, it was red and no school, and I just still get confused. So, and I understand what we're trying to do is have one calendar where everyone can look at it and see what, because sometimes teachers are here and students aren't, but I still get confused by it, and I assume if I do that, other people do.
We have probably 11 calendars actually. There's a number of, and so like school calendar and then work calendar and days. We will work on making like
I
an
think the one on our
easier just
website
for
is probably most used by
students?
parents and
Yes.
students, right? Because staff
Yes.
knows and they have theirs, but when I'm planning something and I need to know what the break is, I go to our website and pull up the calendar and the PD days and the smiley faces confuse me.
So maybe for what we put out for parents and on our website, they don't even need to know that we have PD on those days. They know the first day of school for students is here.
Yeah.
We're here, or the kids are here, or kids are not here.
Yeah.
So we can do something like that,
Teachers can
that we
do
put out.
Does Stephanie need to amend that motion?
No, we're still approving the calendar, the dates,
The
yeah.
dates are also the same, but
Okay,
when we
okay.
advertise it for parents,
Yeah,
we'll try to make a cleaner copy.
Okay.
And I think it's got more confusing because we like when we went from late start, then we added the on-site PD days or whatever, and all of that is on the calendar that's on the website, and that doesn't mean anything to anyone that's not staff.
Right.
But,
Just say no school.
right, yes. Days that we have school and days that we don't have school, and last day and first day, and
We can do that. Yeah, we can do that. Good feedback.
Good, that is
Parents
good.
that don't believe their children are gonna go to school.
I know, I had where they said, "Do I have to be on?" And I go,
Any more discussion? Okay,
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Aye. And Mrs. Crawford? And aye. Item L, discussion and vote to approve the schedule of encumbrances.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Nemo?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Dr. Coxon?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford? And aye. Item M, executive session. Executive session authority, 25 Oklahoma statute 307B 1, 2, and 7. The board proposes to discuss the following matters during its closed session. superintendent evaluation, part 3 of 4. And we are going to be discussing operations and teaching, learning, and assessment.
Move to enter executive session.
Second.
Well, I'll second it. Go ahead. We have seconds, 2 seconds, or, okay. Any discussion? Ms. Nina?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Aye. Mrs. Crawford? And aye. I do one. Okay. To acknowledge that the board has returned to open session at 8:39. Item O, board president's statement of executive session minutes. I've changed this just a bit. The board completed part 3, operations and teaching, learning and assessment of the superintendent's evaluation, and no action was taken. Item P, motion and vote to approve the following personnel items, 1, 2, and 3, and under 2. I want to include the name Marissa Moore, and this is under employment. Marissa Moore, Heritage part-time para-sub, effective 12/2/24, and for 1 year. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Any discussion? Chris,
Do we have to strike that name or
No,
no?
because it wasn't written out.
It wasn't,
Would have been.
Okay, just checking.
I mean, it got 3 minutes.
Oh, Wendy said you still have to say it.
No, you don't have to.
You don't?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep us straight over there.
Okay, you okay? All right, Ms. Nemo. Aye. Dr. Eversole.
Aye.
Dr. Coffey.
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford. Aye. And I. We do have item Q, new business. A motion and vote to approve the following contracts, and there are 3, and I'm going to read these. Contract with Motor Mouth Therapy LLC to provide speech and occupational therapy services from December 15, 2024 through January 10, 2025. Item 2, contract with OSSBA to provide policy review services for the remainder of the current school year. Item 3, agreement with the Oklahoma Department of Rehabilitation Services to provide the Transition School to Work work-study program for the 2024-25 school year with amendments. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
The motor mouth is for a short period of time for speech pathologist or someone that is out on maternity leave. OSSBA contract is to do more extensive revamp of our board policy that we found after the small sample that they, yes, there's a lot that just needs to be rewritten, that needs to be updated, and needs to be reorganized. And the third contract just had the amount that they were reimbursing us for services went up, so we had an amendment to the contract.
I just have one comment on number 2, that for future consideration, if we get 100 pages of policy changes, we might consider a special meeting where we can actually review, and because if we have questions, usually when we do them, we have 1 or 2 to change, and if there's a lot of changes, we may have questions.
Okay.
And so just for whenever that comes up, that we might consider that, but.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Any other discussion? Ready to vote? Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Dr. Coffey?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford? And I. And we are adjourned.
Hallelujah.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Holidays.